Hello and welcome back. In one of the previous videos, we have seen the depth first search algorithm or the BFS using stack. In this video, we're going to see the recursive DFS. Recursive DFS uses stack implicitly. You don't have to maintain the stack explicitly. Since you don't have to maintain the stack, the implementation of the algorithm becomes simpler and easier. So we will first look at the recursive DFS algorithm. So when we do that, we will also compute two important quantities for each of these nodes in the graph, which are known as discovery time and finish times. So this is in addition to computing the pi function. The pi function will give us the DFS tree. So once we compute this discovery time and finish times in the future classes, we will see how to use this discovery time and finish times to come up with some interesting applications of the DFS. So in this video, first we are going to look at the depth first search, the recursive version of it. So what we are given is a graph G. So let's call it as a DFS visit. So we have the pi function which I'm going to initialize to -2, and this is the flag indicating whether this vertex has been visited or not. Then I have two vectors arrays which will compute discovery time and the finish time. Right? What exactly mean by this? When do you compute this? We'll come to know during the course of the algorithm. But initially we will set both of them to be 0. Then there is a count variable which I'm going to initialize to 1. We will assume that d, f and count are global variables, right? So it is accessible from anywhere and you can change them wherever you want. Then for every I is equal to 1, if v of I is not being visited, then I'm going to call the DFS function recursively. What this DFS function does is that it will visit all the vertices which are reachable from I. So after that, I come back and check every other vertex. If one of the vertex is not been visited again, then we will call the DFS function from that particular I again. So this is equivalent to applying the DFS function from I. If all the vertices are not reachable, then go to each of these connected components and apply DFS from that. So now we have to worry, we have to understand how to, so what does this the D of this graph and I does, right? So so given a vertex u, so when you call the DFS function from here, what is first does is that it will mark that if this vertex has been visited. So when the vertex has been visited, I will note that this is the discovery time. So I will store the current value of the count, and this is a kind of counter which will keep ticking up. Whenever you assign it to something, it will increase by 1. So since I have changed the flag of u to be true, I will note that the vertex u, this should have been u, the vertex u has been discovered. Okay. Now you look at as before, just look at all the adjacent vertices of u. If the vertex v is not still visited, then set the pi of v to be u and call the recursion from the vertex v. Okay. So once you finish doing it for every vertex which are adjacent to this, that means that you have visited every vertex adjacent to you. So that is the time when you set your finish time. Just set the finish time is equal to count plus plus. You set the value of f of u to be count and increase the value of count by 1 every time. So notice that when count is assigned to either discovery time or the finish time, count increases by 1. So every time when you use the counter, it increases by 1. Okay. So so the algorithm is simple. So when you go to a node, set the value is true, set the discovery time. Then you look at every adjacent vertex. If the adjacent vertex is not visited, then you set the pi function of v to be u and then call the DFS from v. Okay. So after you finish visiting, considering every edge which is outgoing from u, then you set the f of u to be count plus plus. That's you have, this is to indicate that you have finished visiting everything which is reachable from the vertex u, right? So to notice that the complexity of this algorithm is going to be order n plus m as before, because every edge is going to be considered exactly once. Once you visit a vertex, it's going to be marked as true, and you're going to visit this vertex only if it's unmarked, right? So if the value of that is false. So during the execution of this algorithm, every edge is going to be considered exactly once. So the number of times this for loop is going to execute is order m, and so every vertex you might end up calling DFS. From every vertex also you will end up calling DFS exactly once, because when you go inside the function, so the v of u will be set as true. After that, so you cannot push this, you cannot, once it's true, then you cannot, so when you, even if you come back at a later stage and check this condition, so this condition will be false. So from every vertex, DFS will be called exactly once, and every edge is going to be considered exactly once. So the total amount of time the DFS takes is order n plus n. So let's quickly go through an example. So we have this graph. So we have the pi function, we have the v function, and we have d and f. I start with the 0th vertex. When I start with the 0th vertex, I set the pi function as -1, and then I set v to be true. Then discovery time of this being set as 1. So now let's say that from 0, I consider the edge 0, 1. So I call recursively the DFS from 1. So when I call the DFS from 1, so what happens is that the pi of 1 is set as 0. When I go inside the function, then v of 1 will be set as 2, and d will be set as 2. So now I look at any edge which is outgoing from 1. So let's say that I consider the edge 1, 3. When I consider edge 1, 3, I will set the pi of 3 to be 1, and then call the DFS from 3. When I do that, the flag of that changes to true, and pi of 3 is 1, and d of 3 becomes 3. So now I have to consider all the outgoing edges from here 3. So there is no outgoing edge from 3. So I am inside the while loop. So I have finished everything which is reachable from 3. So I set the finish time of 3 to be the next count, which is 4. So now I come back. So there is a backtracking. I have to consider all the edges. I only consider one edge, which is 1, 3. Now I have to consider 1, 2. So when I consider 1, 2, the pi function of 2 becomes 1. And then I go and call the recursion DFS at 2. So when I call DFS at true, the flag of that turns to true, and d value becomes 5. Now when I go to 2, then I look at the adjacent vertex. There is only one adjacent vertex. I call the DFS from that particular vertex, which is 4. The pi of 4 is set as 2, and then flag of 4 turns to true, and then discovery time of that is 6. Now I have to look at the adjacent vertices of 4. Adjacent vertices of 4, all of them have been turned true. So there is no, when I consider the two adjacent vertices, namely 1 and 3, the flag of both of them is true, so I don't do anything. So I visited everything which is adjacent to 4. So I set the finish time of 4 to be 3. So now I backtrack to 4. I came from 2, so I go to 2. So everything, there was only one edge 2, 4 which has been considered. So I set the finish time of 2 to be 8. From 2 I came from 1, so I'll go to 1. So there were two adjacent vertices of 1. One is 3 and 2. Both of them are considered. So I set the finish time of 0 to be 9. Then I come to 1, 0. When I come to 0, we have considered only the edge 0, 1. But if I consider the edge 0, 2, so the end point of that has been already visited. So if I look at any adjacent vertices of it, again it's going to be, so this is already true, so I don't do anything. So I have visited everything which is reachable from 0 as well. I set the finish time of 10. So in summary, what we are going to get is this table, and the DFS tree looks like this. So what we have written here is 1, 10. So the first one is the discovery time and the second one is the finish time. Just to go through this DFS tree, what I started with that, I started with 0. The discovery time is 1. Then I went to 1. From when I went to 1, discovery time of that became 2. From 1 I went to 3. From when I went to 3, the discovery time is 3. So now I can't go any further from 3. So because there is no outgoing edge from 3. So I set the finish time of 4 and go back to where I came from, right? So I came from 1. So the other edge that I can visit from 1 is 2. I go there, set the finish time, starting time, discovery time as 5. From 2 I can go to 4. So I set the discovery time of 4 to be 6. Now from 4 there are 2 outgoing edges, but both of them have visited. So I cannot. So I will go further only if I see a vertex which has not been visited. So all the vertices which are adjacent to 4 have been visited. So I have nothing to do. So what I do is that I set the finish time and come back. So all the adjacent vertices of 2 also have been visited. So I set the finish time. Now I go back. So all the adjacent vertices of 1 also has been visited. I set this is 9. Then I come back to 0. When I come back to 0, other adjacent vertex is 2, but that flag has been already turned true. So that means that has been visited. So I set the finish time of 0 to be 10. So so you start with a vertex, set the discovery time, and then just look at the adjacent vertices of all the adjacent vertices. If the endpoint has not been visited, then you call the DFS recursively from that vertex. So once you end up finishing considering all the edges which are outgoing from this, you set the finish time. So as I said earlier, every edge is going to be considered exactly once, and you are going to call the DFS function from every node exactly once, right? So because the moment you call the DFS function from this particular vertex, the flag of that is turned true. So if you come visit this, try to visit this vertex again, the flag of that is already going to be true. So you don't call the DFS function in the second time if there is an incoming edge to this. So every edge is going to be considered exactly once, and every vertex is also going to be considered exactly once. So the total complexity of this algorithm is order n plus n. So we have computed what is known as discovery time, finish time, and so the most important thing that we have is the DFS tree. So in one of the earlier classes, we try to do the DFS using an iterative algorithm, which gave us this tree. But now let's try to understand how to get the discovery time and finish times from when you do the DFS iteratively. So initializing iterative DFS is similar to the recursive one. So we have this pi function, then we have this d, f, and the flag b to be initialized, and we will also use the count. So we will assume that d, f, and c are global variables. See, as before, so we check the first vertex. If the flag is still false, then set pi of I to be -1 and push this I into the stack. So now, as long as the so instead of calling the recursion, so earlier we called the recursion from the vertex I. So now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to work with the stack. So let's look at the stack. Let's say that pop the first element, topmost element. If this is being popped for the first time, so what I do is that I record that this vertex has been pushed. So this vertex has been popped. So I set Vr to be true. So I again push u back into u. So this is something that we were not doing earlier, but we need to do this now because I want to set the discovery time and finish time. So discovery time is the time when this was discovered. So I can immediately, when this is being popped for the first time, so we can set the discovery time. So the finish time is after I finish visiting all the vertices which are reachable from this particular vertex, I have to set the finish time. So I have to keep track of the fact that so I'll push this again into the stack, and I will look at all the neighbors. When I pop out all the neighbors of it, and again I come back and pop this U out the second time, that is the time I'm going to set the finish time. That's precisely the reason I want to push this back into the stack, because after that I'm going to look at the adjacent vertices of it and keep pushing them into the stack. So let's go through this example. Let's start with our DFS traversal with the vertex 0. You push 0 into the stack. So when you push 0 into the stack, the pi function is set as -1. So now, so the stack is not empty. You pop the first element out. When you pop out, we set the v value to be true, and then set the discovery time to be 1. Then you push 2, 1 into the stack. So when I push 2, 1 to the stack, stack looked like this. There was already 0 which I did not pop out. Then I pushed 2, then I pushed 1. So when I push 2, I set the pi function to be 0. So then I pushed 1, I set the pi function to be 0. So now what is there on the top of the stack is 1. So I'm going to pop 1 out of the stack. So when I pop 1 out of the stack, I'm going to set the flag to be true. The discovery time is set as 2. Now I'm going to look at both the adjacent vertices of so 1, which is 2, 3. So I'm going to push back 1 into the stack, and then push 2, and then push 3. So when I push 2, 3, so 1 was already there. So I pushed 2, I pushed, then I pushed 3. So when I push 2, so I have to change the pi function. Pi function is changed to 1, and the pi function of 3 is changed to 1. Now what is there on the top of the stack is 3. So I pop that out. I look at all the adjacent, so when I pop this out, I'll set this as true. I'll just look at all the adjacent vertices of 3. There is no adjacent vertex of 3. So, so we do nothing. So we have visited everything that is reachable from 3. So I again pop 3 out, right? So before I looked at adjacent vertices, once I pushed popped 3, I pushed it back. I looked at all the adjacent vertices of it. There is nothing. So I pop 3 out. So when I pop 3 out, the flag of that is already true. So but the f value has not been set. So I will set the f value to be 4. So now I'm going to pop 2 out of the stack. When I pop 2 of this out of the stack, I'm going to push it back, and then so push 4 into the stack. So when I popped 2 out of the stack, I set the flag to be true. Then I set the discovery time of that to be the next number, which is 5. Then I pushed 2 into the stack. When I pushed 4 into the stack. When I pushed 4 into the stack, so I have set the pi function of 4 to be 2. So now on the top of the stack, what I have is 4. I pop 4 out. When I pop 4 out, I'm going to set the v values to be true, and I'm also going to set the d to be the next integer, which is 5. So now once I pop this out and set these values, I push it back and then look at all the adjacent vertices of 4, 1 and 3. But 1 and 3, the flags are already true. I do nothing. So I pop 4 out. So when I pop 4 out again, I set the discovery time to be the next integer, which is 7. Now what is there on the top of the stack is 2. I pop that out. This when I pop this out, the flag is already true. So I set the finish time. The next I'm going to pop out 1. So when I pop out 1, the value is already, flag is already true. So I set just the finish time. And when I pop out 2 again, the finish time of 2 has already been set. So I don't change the finish time of that again. Okay. So only if when I pop an element out of the stack. If the flag is false, I set the flag to be true and push it back into the stack, and then look at all the adjacent vertices. If the flags are false, set the pipe function and put this into the stack. When I pop something out of the stack, if the flag is already true, then I check whether phi of that value is 0. If the phi of f of that particular f of u is 0, if f of u is 0, only then I change the f of u value to be the next count. If f of u has already been set, we do nothing. Okay. So now the only element that is there in the stack is 0. I pop this out. I set the f function to be 10. So what I have is the following DFS traversal of the graph. So I started with 1, so I went to 2, then from 2 I went to 3. From 3 I could not go anywhere, so I set the finish time and came back to 1. From 1 I went to 2, from 2 I went to 4. From 4, so I could not go anywhere because all the vertices from 4 has been already visited. So I set the finish time, I went back to 2, from 2 I went back to 1, and from 1 back to 0. So the DFS tree that you got in this case is exactly same as the DFS tree that you got in the recursive function, recursive call. And so using the iterative algorithm, you can also find the discovery time and finish time. You can notice that so all the discovery time and finish times that we found in both iterative as well as recursive DFS are the same. So you can use either the recursive version or the iterative version. Iterative version uses the stack, but the recursive versions are easy to implement, and the stack is implicit there. So in this video we have seen how to implement a DFS recursively, and we also computed what is known as the discovery time and the finish time of each node, and we also have modified the iterative algorithm using a stack to compute discovery time and finish time. So what we did in the iterative algorithm, if you recall, so when a node is deleted from the stack for the first time, we're going to put it back into the stack and set the discovery time. When the node is deleted from the stack second time, so that is when the finish time is still 0, we will set the finish time of that particular vertex. In future, where future iterations, when the node is going to be deleted in future, the finish time will be greater than 0, so it will not be updated. So unlike the original DFS, when we popped out, we just inserted all the adjacent vertices into the stack. In this case, what we do that before you push all the adjacent vertices which are not yet visited to the stack, what we're going to do is that we're going to put back this into vertex into the stack, because we want to know what are all the vertices which are reachable from this. All the vertices which are reachable from this will go into the stack, and once you pop all of them out, you're going to pop this out. That is the time when you're going to set the finish time. In the next video, we are going to study some of the important property of these discovery time and finish time of each of these nodes, and so we'll use these properties in coming up with interesting applications of the DFS algorithm.